If you read the Bible like a history book, you're missing the point entirely. See, it's not a record of historical events. It's not a biography of spiritual leaders, and it's definitely not about obedience and rules. The Bible is a coded guide, a psychological drama played out in symbolic language, written to teach you how to create reality. Neville Goddard spent his life showing people that the Bible is actually about you. Every character, every story, every miracle, it's not happening to people thousands of years ago. It's happening within you right now. And that's the real mystery. You're not reading the Bible, it's reading you. And when you see it this way, the book unlocks entirely. Suddenly, the strength of Samson, Moses parting the Red Sea, and even Jesus raising Lazarus aren't miracles. They're metaphors for how your imagination works, how consciousness creates form, and how to shift reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So in this video, let's look at the Bible the way it was always meant to be seen, as a manual for creators. So Neville said the characters in the Bible are not people, but personifications of the eternal state of consciousness. That means David, Goliath, Moses, Jesus, Pharaoh, Peter, and Mary. None of them are external people. They're states of mind that you move through. So let's start with one of the most famous, David and Goliath. You are David when you stand in faith against impossible odds. Goliath is your obstacle, a towering, mocking circumstance in your life that looks unbeatable. And yet it only takes a single idea, a stone of assumption to bring it down. Neville said this story shows the power of belief over facts. The world might present facts: you're too small, it's too late, you don't have enough. But when you assume the state of victory, the external must bow to the internal. Take Moses, for example. He doesn't represent a man leading people out of Egypt. He represents the part of you that decides to leave a limited mindset in Egypt and pursue a new state of being, the promised land. The Red Sea, for example, is the barrier of belief, what seems impossible until you align your thoughts with your desires. When Moses parts the seas, he's not performing magic. He's illustrating that once the mind fully commits, reality bends. So Neville didn't teach that Jesus was a man that lived 2,000 years ago. He taught that Jesus is a symbol of creative power within you. Every miracle Jesus performed is a psychological act. Take the story of Jesus raising Lazarus. On the surface, it looks like a story of physical resurrection, but Neville explains that Lazarus represents a dead dream, something you've given up on, buried in the tomb of doubt and time. And Jesus? He's the divine imagination inside of you, commanding Lazarus to come forth, or in other words, reviving the desire by assuming that it's already done. Jesus doesn't ask if it's possible, he declares it. That's the key. You don't resurrect your dreams by waiting. You resurrect them by embodying the wish fulfilled now. Neville said that Christ is your own wonderful human imagination. When you understand that, the resurrection story becomes a reminder that nothing is ever truly dead if you can imagine it alive again. Even the crucifixion isn't about pain or sacrifice. It's about dying to your current state of consciousness. Jesus on the cross is your own mind pinned to a belief system. And the resurrection? That's the moment you rise to a new assumption, one that aligns with the life that you want. So the story of the virgin birth is not about biology. It's about how ideas are born into form. Mary represents the receptive part of you, the subconscious. The virgin birth symbolizes how you conceive a new reality, not through logic or evidence, but through inner acceptance. Neville put it this way: the virgin is your own consciousness. She is Mary, the pure state that receives ideas. When the angel says to Mary, "You will conceive," it's the moment you hear an idea that excites you, a dream you hadn't considered possible before. The virginity means the idea came without physical means. No man, no effort, no logic. It was planted directly into imagination. And the birth? That's when it externalizes in your world. The story is telling you that manifestation doesn't require a step-by-step plan. It requires inner consent. You don't need to know the how. You need to accept the feeling that it already is. That's the true meaning of, "Be it unto me according to thy word." Mary isn't being obedient. She's accepting the seed of imagination. And that acceptance creates the world. So the story of the prodigal son is one of the clearest metaphors that Neville uses. A man leaves his father's house, wastes his inheritance, and then eventually returns. But this isn't about moral failure. It's about leaving a state of abundance, the Father, and entering a state of lack. The inheritance is your awareness of your creative power. When you forget who you are, you waste it on outer things, hoping something external will give you what you seek. Eventually, like the sun, you reach a low point and remember, I have access to the Father's house. I can return at any time. And when the son returns, the Father doesn't punish him, he celebrates him. Because the Father, your higher self, your divine imagination, never judged you. It was always waiting for you to remember. Neville said the far country the sun travels to is the world of senses, where we try and force change instead of imagining it. But the return home is always just one assumption away. The feast, the robes, the ring, they're all symbols of your return to the state of knowing, I create from within. No guilt, no shame, just the realization that you never lost your power. You just forgot it. So let's take Jonah. He runs from his calling and gets swallowed by a great big fish, and ends up in the dark belly of a whale for 3 days before being spat out to fulfill his purpose. Neville said, Jonah represents what happens when you deny your imagination. You receive a desire, your calling, but instead of accepting it, you run away from it. You rationalize it, you resist. And the whale is the state of being trapped in external circumstances, stuck in the dark, feeling like there's no way forward. And Jonah prays, not to escape, but to remember who he is. And that's the shift. Neville said the belly of the whale is a psychological state of reflection, a place where we remember that the world responds to our inner world. The moment Jonah surrenders to the will of God, which means aligning with his inner purpose, the whale spits him out, and then he moves forward with power. This story isn't about punishment, it's about alignment. You see, the whale wasn't the problem, it was a gift. Sometimes darkness is where the greatest clarity begins. So for me, the Bible isn't a rule book, it's a coded map for human consciousness. Every story, every character, every miracle is telling you how your mind works and how reality is shaped from within. And here's the truth, you've already played every character in the book. You've been Moses, afraid to move. You've been David, bold in the face of doubt. You've been the prodigal son, lost in the world of senses. And you've been Christ, awakening to the fact that you're the one creating it all. So if you want to understand the Bible, stop looking outward and start looking within. The Bible isn't about God, it's about you. And once you see that, you stop reading the script and you start living it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you guys. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and join this growing community of like-minded people. As always, thank you so much for your engagement and support. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye for now.